Adolf Hitler. It's a name that, even now, nearly 80 years after his death, casts an impossibly long and dark shadow over human history. His actions and ideology didn't just lead to a devastating world war, they fundamentally altered our understanding of human capacity for evil. The ripple effects of his 12 years in power continue to shape our world, our politics, and our collective memory. In this video, we're going to look unflinchingly at some of the darkest deeds committed under Hitler's rule. This isn't about sensationalism, it's about understanding the depths to which humanity can sink. So, let's begin. The Holocaust, or the Shoah, stands as one of history's most horrifying genocides. It was a meticulously planned, state-sponsored persecution and annihilation of 6 million Jews by the Nazi regime. The Nazis also persecuted and murdered millions of others they deemed undesirable. Remembering the Holocaust is about honoring their memory by fighting against anti-Semitism, racism, and hatred. The invasion of Poland on September 1, 1939, directly triggered the Second World War in Europe. It was the culmination of Hitler's aggressive expansionist policies and his relentless pursuit of Lebensraum. Hitler had already flouted international agreements, rearming Germany and annexing Austria. To justify this blatant act of aggression, the Nazi regime orchestrated a series of false flag operations, most famously the Gleiwitz incident. The invasion itself was a terrifying demonstration of blitzkrieg, or lightning war. The world watched in horror as a sovereign nation was brutalized and dismembered. The invasion wasn't just an attack on a neighboring country, it was an assault on the very foundations of international law and stability. The Nazi concentration camp system was a sprawling network of terror and death. The first such camp, Dachau, was established near Munich in March 1933. Initially, these camps were primarily intended for political opponents. As the Nazi regime consolidated its power, the purpose and scale of the camp system expanded dramatically. It evolved into a vast apparatus for racial persecution, slave labor, and industrialized genocide. Life inside the camps was a descent into hell, with prisoners systematically dehumanized from the moment of arrival. Extermination camps like Auschwitz-Birkenau were specifically designed for the systematic mass murder of Jews and other targeted groups. The liberation of the camps by Allied forces revealed the full extent of Nazi atrocities to a shocked world. Their stories are a vital testament to the horrors endured and a solemn warning to future generations. From the moment Hitler ascended to the chancellorship in January 1933, the systematic dismantling of political opposition was a paramount objective. The Nazis had no intention of sharing power or tolerating dissent. Their first targets were the Communists and the Social Democrats. Thousands were arrested, beaten, and imprisoned in newly established concentration camps like Dachau. The Reichstag fire led to the emergency decree of the Reich President for the protection of people and state. This decree suspended civil liberties and allowed for arrests without trial. The Enabling Act granted Hitler's government the power to legislate without the Reichstag's approval. The ultimate effect was a society where open dissent was impossible. Hitler's grip on Germany was maintained by a brutal and efficient system of terror. The Nazi regime's mastery of propaganda and indoctrination was a cornerstone of its power. At the helm of this vast operation was Joseph Goebbels, the Reich Minister of Public Enlightenment and Propaganda. His ministry exerted total control over all forms of communication. A key tenet of Nazi propaganda was the big lie technique, the idea that a lie, if audacious enough and repeated relentlessly, would eventually be believed by the masses. Central to this propaganda effort was the creation of the Führer myth, the cult of personality surrounding Adolf Hitler. Indoctrination began at a young age with the Hitler Youth and the League of German Girls. Education was thoroughly Nazified, with textbooks rewritten to reflect Nazi racial theories. This cradle-to-grave indoctrination aimed to create a generation of unquestioning followers. The long-term impact of this pervasive propaganda and indoctrination was profound and devastating. The deeds we've discussed today represent some of the darkest chapters in human history. The sheer scale of the cruelty and destruction orchestrated by Adolf Hitler and the Nazi regime is difficult to fully comprehend. It serves as a terrifying testament to what can happen when extremist ideology, absolute power, and unchecked hatred converge. Understanding this history is about recognizing the patterns and warning signs of demagoguery and dehumanization. By learning about this period, we honor those who suffered and perished. The echoes of Hitler's era still resonate today, and the fight against hatred, intolerance, and tyranny is ongoing. Never forget the lessons of this dark past, for it is in remembering that we find the resolve to build a better, more humane future.